All right. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
Welcome. Wednesday. Hope y'all had a good week. So, who out there has heard of a value network? We're just going to dive right into it. Actually, first I should say what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about value networks. We're going to talk about that sort of theme. We're going to go over some games. Then Heath is going to go through a 3-4 point Joseki with Frank, who's going to check him about the ladder variation. All right? You guys are ready? Y'all are on point?
I know, 2 variations, that's it.
2 variations? That's all right. That's good. That's plenty. All right, so we're not even going to use this, although this might be an interesting one. I have no idea whose turn it is or if this is even accurate. That doesn't look right over there. Actually, maybe it is. Anyway, this is apparently a read now game from one of Nick's classes. But what we're going to talk about value network. So who heard the term value network during the whole AlphaGo shenanigans? Yes. Lots of you. Okay, so who knows what it is? Anybody want to take a cut at explaining it? Yeah, what is it, George?
It's the piece of the program that looks at and evaluates the position of the board so that it has an initial...
Evaluates the whole board. Okay, so Who's got an idea of logistic function, right? Something between 0 and 1. 0 means black's winning, 1 means white's winning, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. 0.5 means that its game is perfectly evenly balanced. The value network is a neural network that has been trained to take the whole board's position and reduce it to one number between 0 and 1 about who's winning. This by itself is not the only way that DeepMind plays. DeepMind also has what's called a policy network, which takes a 19 by 19 input and gives out a 19 by 19 output, where each of the points has the probability distribution that that's the next move. It uses that to explore the game tree. So it's exploring the game tree according to the policy network, and it's distributing its playouts and its searches according to what the policy network says. And it is then using the value network once it hits some terminal depth, and that value network then says, is this good or bad? And it mixes that output of the value network with the output of a bunch of Monte Carlo playouts. So that's generally what a value network is.
How many Monte Carlos does it do?
I don't know. Depends how much time it has.
I mean,
hundreds of thousands.
Well, I mean, when like one of these IA bots from KGS says...
Those are totally different.
So
it doesn't matter. The different bots have different simulation levels, but there's always this trade-off between making your Monte Carlo playouts faster, or I guess making your Monte Carlo bots playouts slower, and that trade-off. So IA, I think, runs much fewer overall than, say, Pachi. And Crazy Stone, I think, is sort of moving away from using them at all. Anyway, so this value network, the real breakthrough was in how... Yeah, go ahead.
To summarize what you were just saying, the policy network explores some branches.
That's right.
And then the value network, when it gets into the branches, this is where it's so much if you go this way.
That's right. That's the idea.
And then the Monte Carlo searches are like what?
Is also done at the end of the branch. The Monte Carlo search is also done at the end of the branch, and that also has a estimation of who's winning or losing, but it does that by playing the game out to the very end like an idiot. It just picks random moves.
All the way or just...
All the way. It does it many, many times and then averages. So it'll do 10,000 or 100,000 playouts and say, I won in, 55% of them.
Possible plays, it just plays.
It just picks random dumb moves and figures, since it's picking equally dumb moves for both sides, that's how it figures out if it's any good or not. This is why there are some heuristics, because as you know, you can play a lot of really dumb moves on the Go board, right? Like new players will fill up their territory, then they'll capture, then they'll fill up their territory again, then they'll capture it again, then they'll fill up their territory and capture it again. Like if you are playing totally randomly, you might have a game that's 800 moves long. So you usually try to have a couple heuristics on those playouts to make them not take forever. One of them being don't fill your own eyes, right? The problem is that as soon as you do those heuristics, now you are going to skip all of the branches where filling your eye is the winning move. Does that kind of make sense? So the Monte Carlo simulations get mixed with the value network to produce their overall judgment of if they like a branch or not. And then once they've got these branches, now they can actually do your min-max and go down and find best move for me, best move for you, best move for me, best move for you. Make sense? Okay, so the real breakthrough that AlphaGo came up with was this idea of this value network. And the thing that they did there was how they trained that value network. And the way in which they trained that value network was through lots of repeated self-play games. So they came up with this is also how they refined their policy network as well. But they started off with it by training an initial policy network on their database of KGS games. And they train up a policy network on different levels of players. I don't know if this is used in AlphaGo directly, but this was in their prior paper, prior to the AlphaGo paper. They talked about training it with, saying that these will be 2 Dan moves, these will be 3 Dan moves, these will be 4 Dan moves, all that stuff. And so the idea here is that once they had that policy network, then they would do self-play games, and then they would use those self-play games to try and reinforce the policy network. That part I'm less clear on. What is really interesting to me is how they arrived at training the value network, which is they took individual positions from their millions of self-play games, and they just took one position from each game, and then they said, okay, value network, here is the position, here's who won the game. Right? And they just used that as their way of figuring out, of having the policy network, or having the value network try to predict if something was good or not. So then you're minimizing your error on that data set. They didn't take repeated positions from each game because those would all be highly correlated. So each position is related to the position that came before it, so it's essentially less information than they otherwise would have gotten. Yeah, go for it.
How far into the game did it fix the position?
I have no idea how they did that. I think they tried to pick them from different phases of the game. But certainly one of the interesting things is they're using the value network farther down the tree. Their value network gets better as the game is closer to being ended. So that's why they will search first with the policy network, and then they'll use the value network farther down the line. They don't just hit the position with the value network immediately. They wait until they've reached that terminal depth to apply the value network. This is all just from my understanding of the paper, and I didn't read it that closely, but this is my understanding of how it works. Most importantly is this idea that the value network is trained just on one position from millions of games. So
they take the position from a game where they've already worked at the end.
Yeah, they've already worked at the end.
Network,
That's right.
you find some basis and then tell us what your answer is.
So they say, do you like white? So it says, value network, do you think white or black is going to win? The value network says, I think white's going to win. And it says, well, black won. And so the value network says, okay, I'm going to figure that out. What was that?
You give it an electric shock.
That's right. Then you give it an electric shock, and then you tell it to try again. That's right. They would also rotate each of the positions, so there's no symmetry bias. I think they did this also on the policy network. Anyway, neither here nor there. Is it not recording? Am I going to be in trouble here?
I'm just looking at the device.
Oh, don't sweat it. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. The question that we have is, this turned out to be a very good way to end up with a neural network that had... Yeah.
Looks like it's cutting your head off.
Oh, yeah? Well, I didn't really need my head anyway. It looks like this is a good way for the neural network to have something that approximates a human intuition. So how many of you guys have heard me talk about Bloom's taxonomy?
Who?
1, 2. No? Bloom's taxonomy? Bloom's taxonomy of thinking.
We're hearing it, but not what it is.
Okay, Bloom's taxonomy of thinking. We'll go into more detail on Bloom's taxonomy next week. But the short version is that this is a model of the different ways of thinking about problems, different types of thought that we have. The bottom line is that solving, questions like how do you spell a word is less useful than knowing what a word is. Knowing how to use a word in a sentence, right? We're getting farther and farther. Maybe breaking a word into parts. The idea is you've got these 6 different levels: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and right at the tippy top is evaluation. The root of evaluation being value, being do you know if this is good or not? So if we start with the 3-minute example is if you know what a cup is, that's a start. If you know a cup, you use it to drink something, that's comprehension. You drink from a cup, that's application. You can analyze a cup. You can say, what's it made of? You can see how tall it is. You can break it into its component parts and measure them and weigh them and do that and compare and contrast them. That's analysis. You can then synthesis, which is trying to come up with another use for a cup, right? You can use it as a paperweight. You can turn it upside down. You can float it in water. Like lots of different new things you can do with a cup that are independent of its function of holding water.
Games.
And sure. And then the last thing you can do is you can say, is this a good cup? Is this cup better than this glass?
Well,
that valuation, is this cup worth $2, for instance? These are harder questions. This is why things like, everything from the stock market to, take your pick. Is this a good buy? Is this a better buy than this over here? A lot of these are what we are doing in Go, this valuation. Is white better? Is this a good trade? Is this trade better than that trade? This is sort of one of the reasons why that evaluation function is so important. Unfortunately, evaluation is built on all of those other levels of the pyramid. Like, you can't just say this cup is better because I said so. You have to come up with a concrete reason. Like, this glass might make a better paperweight than that paper cup, right? But that paper cup may be much cheaper, for instance, or it may be disposable in a way that the glass, now you've got this overhead, right? These ideas, you have to understand these trade-offs based on things. So a lot of the reason I've been giving all this homework out is because you have to do that basics. You have to have that underpinning of, can you identify a tsuji? Can you find it? Can you apply it? Before you can do any of that, you can't ask the question, is this position good or bad? Because you don't know what else is underneath there, right? Does that kind of make sense? So, but it's still a good idea to try and practice that evaluation, because that is ultimately what we are getting all these tsuji and reading skills for, is to be able to say, well, I'm going to make a trade, and I think this trade is good for me. And sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So, hands up, how many people brought a game where they showed it to a stronger player, and the stronger player disagreed with you about whether the position was good or bad? How many people did that homework? One.
By that definition,
Two.
have a game.
Well, you got a game. You got a game that you had someone look at?
Yeah, it's,
Each of these opportunities is similar to the way that AlphaGo's value network is trained, right? There's a position. You say, I think white's better. And the stronger player, who already has a better value network than you do, says, I think you're wrong. It's now your job to try and figure out why they think that. Okay, does that kind of make sense? The key here is that AlphaGo was able to look at just one position and say, well, white ended up winning. And it does that because it was self-play. It assumed two people that were playing just randomly. If you just took a random position off KGS and said, okay, well, is white or black going to win? Well, sometimes white totally screws up, even though white's way ahead, and sometimes black totally screws up, even though black's way ahead. In the case of AlphaGo, both players were identical. So that idea of using the end result as an approximation of the immediate position was sound. Does that make sense? So we've got some positions here where we can assume that these players maybe didn't make any mistakes, but these four board positions that are set up here, I want you guys to decide whether you like white or black better, and then most importantly, you have to come up with these reasons of why. So counting is a great way to start, but it's not the only way that we can evaluate a position. It's certainly one of the ways that we start. After that, we might look at AJI, we might look at try and judge potential, we might look for specific sequences in endgame that make the territory more or less. Actually, we should have already done that when we counted. Does that kind of make sense what I'm getting at here? Okay, so we've got these four board positions. We'll break, look at those, and then would you guys also set up your game to the position where you showed it to somebody and they said, wow, I really like this color. Sound good? All right, any questions? Any questions? Questions? Great. Sounds good. Well, okay, so
Yeah, that's the problem.
last move was this one right here.
There.
So the question is, who do you like and why?
Well, I gotta look at there and see if I'm missing a play somewhere. You know, some sneaky little trick that white can pull on black to snatch it.
So who said that they liked black because black had more points?
I do.
How many more?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, more?
No, I think I counted about 12 more.
12 more? Mm-hmm.
Is it really
No, more than that, actually.
More than 12?
Yeah.
this game? Is it really
Yeah,
to
the
a
question is there some
safe-
sneaky white play in there that will rob black of his manliness?
Yeah.
That
or
is a
worse.
question. Indeed, indeed.
Like a poke down there or something. Well, no, I don't think so.
So anybody like white better? You kind of do? Why? You just do?
I thought white had more territory at first, but
Uh-huh.
I think white's positions are a little more solid.
Okay.
I don't think white has to worry as much as black might.
Okay. What does black have to worry about? Can you point at anything specifically?
These guys look a little.
Is that connection solid or not?
Appears to be connected through here.
Yeah, I think
This is what it looks like.
So you guys think they're connected?
Yeah.
We got eyes.
Maybe white can play here.
Okay, white plays there, then what happens? See how this evaluation is going to totally depend on your ability to read these sequences out?
Black.
White.
Uh-huh. Then black just takes the stones.
Yes.
Black is indeed connected.
Yeah. That's what I was looking
But these things are inextricable, right? Like you can't say, oh, well, is that black group safe or not until you can read the connections. You can't read the connections unless you can read, yada, yada. All right, time for the answer. Who do you think wins this game?
Black.
Everybody's got an answer? Nope, still want some time to think
Well, I
about
have to
it?
be
Take
wrong
some time
because
to
I'm
think
only a
about it.
5Q, right?
No,
So
not
that should clue the rest of
necessarily.
you in.
Not necessarily. This is a game played between Ryan Lee and I think Andy Liu on KGS. I can check.
There's Kame.
Presumably. Yes, there's Comey.
Then maybe I like white.
Maybe you like white with Comey?
Yeah.
Okay. This is actually the point at which white resigned.
Oh, no.
So this isn't even a position from the middle of the game. This is a position from the end of the game, which is why I wanted to start with this one. Because this is the one where white resigns. So if you decide that you liked white, now it's maybe time to revisit your assumption, because this is where the 9-down player packs in the towel, says it's over. So this is a great board if you guys want to take some time and look at this. Actually, why don't we just take a break, let you guys all peruse the other 3 boards, and we can look at all of those once everybody's formulated an opinion. But this is sort of the example of what you want to do. You want to look at the position, you want to figure out who you like better and why. You want to come up with some concrete reasons. So you say you like white better, you think white's shapes are more solid. In contrast to what? What's the value going to get out of it? How is white going to make those points out of those thicker shapes? You know, like where are those points going to be? Like get specific about why you like one side or the other. Then the idea is that later when you come back and you say, oh, I like white, right? That snap judgment has been trained because of some things underneath it. Does that make sense? So you sort of, not just one, you got both? Okay, great.
Training your.
We'll take a little break, we'll come right back. Training your what?
Training your instincts.
Training your instincts, that's right.
I presume I don't see
Here's
anything
the
white has
board.
to. Does white actually have to do this right now?
It is black's turn as indicated by the
If white's
stones that
forced
you
to
see
play
in the
here,
upper right hand corner.
then I'd prefer black.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
if
Yeah.
white has the initiative at this point,
Well, let's see if he does or not.
This
White's
one
got 2
here.
movies there.
but I don't think he has to do anything. This goes too quickly, even if black
That's
goes
true.
in here first.
That's just too
So I
late.
think white has initiative and
This
can
one here
go
is white's turn,
start
indicated by the
chomping away
stones in the
at
upper right
black's
hand corner.
influence.
But black can seal them in here,
So
right?
who do you guys like?
Yes, black definitely has the influence
If
here.
black seals them in, then he gets...
And then
that
this one
means
here
white
is in
can
the
have
early game. A
two,
fight has
free
just been
games to-
resolved.
2 free moves
It's white's
to,
turn. Who do we like? And why?
on the other hand, if
All right, so can we get a quick show of hands who likes white better?
oh my God, you want to show of hands?
Or just say I don't know. Just let me know which one you like better.
You're talking about the far right?
This one over here, that's right. This one's the simplest one for us to look at because the fight is already there. There's not a lot of aji to analyze.
Yeah, I like white.
We have a straightforward question. You like white? All right, who likes black?
God,
Couple
I'm
folks
I'm
like
gonna
black?
Go for black.
Some folks on the fence? All right, so what we have here is we've got a fight.
Yes.
It is white's turn.
Yeah.
Does white owe a move here on this fight here along these black stones?
No.
No, so white is free to tanuki.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much of a lead in cash does white have?
30 points.
30 points lead. This is 10, that matches that 10. This here and that makes 30.
Okay.
So that's a 30-point cash lead.
Yeah.
counted 40 for white.
Yeah, there's 40 and black has 10 on the left.
okay.
So it's a 30-point lead.
Basically, I looked
right.
at the 30-point sacrifice to get those 2 cornerstones in that wall.
Right. So it's white's turn. White is allowed to tanuki. Black has a wall. How good is this wall? Do you like this
Very
wall?
good.
It's very good. It's
Is it very good?
Almost,
it's good,
almost
not very
impervious.
good.
Just one little peep.
Okay.
It's a real wall.
How about the folks who like white? Do you guys like that wall? Like, why do you not like? You think white's cache is better than that wall. So if you like white, why do you not like that wall?
I think this
I don't
is an
think the
even
white's, the
game.
walls were 30 points.
With white's move, I think it's an even game.
With white's move, you think it's an even game, huh?
As I say, I could lose either side.
Yeah.
Black's wall is
I could lose
really
either side. Dave.
only working in one direction.
Right, black's wall
White's
is
already sticking out of that.
right.
And white's
This
right on the
here,
other side.
this here means that white is already sticking out. So this wall isn't completely shut in. If this went all the way down to the second line, black's potential for making territory here would be much more improved.
Of course.
Instead, white has the potential down here because of all this thickness, right?
But,
And it's equal on the side.
But,
other side.
but this is facing this direction as well.
White's already got its stone in that.
White goes on to win this game. White's next move is here.
There.
That's right there.
Really?
That's right, it's
All right,
got.
well, that's above my pay
Okay,
grade
yeah, me
or
too.
whatever.
I
I don't see that.
Where would you play instead?
I would have played over here.
I would've attacked.
Figured
I
black
would
has
have
to answer and get another
split.
play
I would have
here.
split.
Yeah.
A split seems reasonable, although I think that what you don't want to have happen is if you split over here. One of you guys want to hold this and keep it pointed generally at the board. If you split over here, now this
Okay.
sort of looks a little crunched.
Okay,
the other
well,
thing
fine then.
is that these
Sente,
moves
yeah.
are it's Sente for black to shut white in.
Right.
So
Which is so this is the next thing is if you see that this has to be answered here.
Yes.
Right? And that this has to be answered there. Now it makes a little bit more sense why you'd play here, because these moves might as well already be on the board, right? Does that make sense? So this thickness actually goes this way, which makes this...
all right, so then black gets well. Then I'd rather be black.
You'd rather be black, even though white is still ahead in this at this position.
Sure.
No,
Alright.
I'd rather be. Since white has to go here, I change my opinion.
Okay. Well, you're certainly allowed to disagree, but I
Who
think
played this game?
this is Ryan Lee and someone else on KGS. So Ryan Lee is white, goes on to win this
How
game.
strong's Ryan Lee?
He's American 1 Pro.
One pro, okay.
American Pro.
He's winning all the tournaments now.
Well,
He's
the thing
winning
is
all the
that-
tournaments now.
Is
That's
this
right.
an avalanche variation?
This is an avalanche variation. That's correct. This is what this is over here. Good. This right here also, it's worth pointing out, sets up another 15 points right there.
Yeah.
So we've got 45 points more or less unanswered. Black's next move has to invade here because otherwise white's gonna get too much cash. So this is how the game goes down. But this position right here, I would say, already strongly favors white. Good? Okay, if you disagree with me, you're allowed to. There's nothing that says that my opinion here is right or wrong one way or another.
It's just that white won.
I'm just telling you that white won, and I mean,
I changed my mind as soon as you started talking about the wall. And I went, okay, that wall is, nah.
not that good, right?
It's
Not
one
that
little
good.
peep.
Not
Well,
that
no,
good.
the thing is, it
I'm
curls
not
around
impressed.
here, but then on the end around here is not that good, you know.
It's not that good.
Down there.
Not enough.
That's right. It's not that good.
Well, I was viewing from the point of view that white would have a Sente attack on that corner, black would have to
No,
hit
it
here.
wouldn't.
Well, he's not gonna let, is he gonna, if white plays here, is he gonna let, or here someplace, is he gonna let black,
He's got
white
a
play on the
wall.
other
Not
side?
He's got a
usually this
wall.
much
He's got a
acrimony.
wall.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Stop it.
George? All right, so we'll go all the way to this one down here on
I
the
mean, I
end.
guess it's not an impervious wall, but it's very strong influence.
Oh, God. What a mess.
We'll just spread
Why don't you
two
hold
legs,
this right here?
Make it a white part here.
That's
I think
fine.
you
Go
probably
for it.
better hold it in the hand, too.
I don't know about that.
Well, look at the frame. Look at the frame. Is it in the frame?
My frame was wobbly.
Oh, yeah? All right,
Trying
you
to
guys
get my
can-
camera.
It wasn't vibrating, but it was wobbly.
All right.
There we go.
All right, so the last move the white played was right here. The question, yep, this is, so white just played here, it's black's turn. So the question is, who do we like and why? So who likes white better? One.
Oh, I forgot.
Forgot.
White better, oh, I like white better.
You like white better.
Yeah.
Who likes black better? Black, black, black. Okay. Start with people who like white better. Why? Heath.
Black feels like owes a move down here yet in
Uh-huh.
order for these stones to even live. So even though it's black's move, black needs to play a move. So white's gonna has the actual Sente on this. I think there's a lot of threats over here in this to be able to reduce this, maybe give some more threats to help these stones over this way.
Okay.
White does have points here, here, a little bit with those stones, but not too much.
Uh-huh.
Whereas black's got tiny points, like I said, lots of reduction here. It's got this is what black mostly has.
Right. Okay. David, why do you like white?
It seems to me that likewise, I think that white has Sente, he's got the initiative here.
Uh-huh. Even though
And
it's
he's also
black's
got,
turn.
and he's got more territory.
Even though it's black's turn.
Even though it's black turns, white's gonna have to,
White-
black has to worry about these, and
Okay.
white has a turn here, a play here that has to be answered. He's not in any danger here.
So you're saying that black, even though it's black's turn, black has to play down here because of the balance of the life and death, which means it's actually white's initiative right now.
Yeah, it's actually white's
And you're
initiative.
basing that on your reading of the life and death situation.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Keep going.
and other than that, white has more territory.
White's got more territory. Okay.
Nice influence.
How much did you count the
Well, I
territory?
counted, got 30 points here, right? But white has, I couldn't count exactly because it's kind of, but still, I think white has more around here, and black has this corner, but.
So we counted, but not enough to
Yeah,
put any
I couldn't-
actual
yeah.
numbers out. All right, all
I
right.
have
good.
black with more points.
You have black with more points. How much more points?
About
55.
about 12 or 13.
Black by 12 or 13.
Yeah.
How much? How did you count? Did you count these as alive
Yeah,
or
that's
dead?
the problem.
Alive.
Did you
alive,
count
yeah.
how much territory here does white
I
have?
did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right. So those are the folks who liked white better. Folks who like black better. Why? Bert.
These are still weak.
Okay.
I thought black was enough ahead on territory that
And the cash?
cash that he can afford to make safe over there.
Uh huh. Okay.
So make safe first and they still.
George.
I didn't get enough of an opinion. I thought
Okay,
black
that's
was
fine.
ahead,
No
that was
opinion.
Where I went.
Josh.
Same reasons. Also, it looks like black might have some good in-game reductions.
Okay. Okay. Frank.
Well, initially I was thinking black, but I'm leaning towards white now because this is actually kind of open, and it seems like white could invade in there and reduce it.
All right. Well, here's the next few moves. Black,
Right,
white,
right.
black.
Oh, interesting.
Does this change anybody's opinion on who's ahead or behind?
This is starting to look kind of silly, isn't it?
What
Well,
is?
is that group in the upper right there or upper left in danger now?
Well,
Come
the
on,
question.
come on.
I sort of think it's not, but who am I to?
I'm sorry, it's white's move.
I
White's
think
move.
Yeah.
black is going to have to answer that.
So,
Then it's safe, but I mean.
your evaluation of the whole board is going to have to depend on this right here, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking black's going to die. He's going to lose these.
That's right.
That's
Black-
going to turn into white.
White's next move is here.
Yeah.
Black, white, black, white, black, white,
Oh, yeah, okay.
black, white, black. And black is dead in co. Alive in co. Black is
In coal.
co for everything, right?
And there's a
Yeah.
few coal threats.
So for life.
Yeah.
White doesn't immediately start fighting this co. White shores up over here.
Yep.
This co is not something that you're in any hurry to get off the board. I mean, black connects, you get 2 moves in a row. It's like you won the co. So, white plays some fun Aji around this group here in the middle, comes back and starts fighting the co. White goes on to win this game. The key realization is that this sequence here of black living
Kills the other.
kills the other one. That's right, in co. You have to read that to change how you assess the whole thing, right? It turns out the cash is kind of pretty well balanced, actually.
I figured that you could save both groups. I guess that took the extra turn, which
Takes an extra
sucked
turn.
out the,
That's right.
Well, if this move in this direction, if black had protected against that move first, would
Black
would
protects
this?
here.
Yeah, exactly.
All these things don't happen.
Right. It looks to me now like that black can live. This group can live. Maybe not, but it has
here.
some,
Go, Ted.
has some.
well, that go,
Oh, no, it's
well, white, black comes down then.
Black comes down, then how many eyes you got?
Now you can do something down here.
What, this one?
no, it doesn't.
There's no eyes.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
only one eye.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, good.
So you could maybe think about cutting and coming out here. This may be a different choice. I don't know. I didn't look at the life and death more than to see
There's a
that.
play up here somewhere that, but it didn't look very good.
Right.
White looks.
Well, I was wondering if black comes out, jumps out and threatens that, white protects, disable all those, and then black could cut and maybe do something down
You
there.
got to be real specific because if you get that cut, white might give that up to go after the whole thing. Like, I could let you cut as long as I'm cutting you off too.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mutual cut.
Mutual cut. You're gonna have to show some specific sequences for that one. All right, last one. Last one. All right.
I forgot what I had on this one.
Okay, so this one's maybe the hardest. Here. I enlist one of you fine gentlemen.
No.
Bert, you wanna do
I'll
it?
do it.
You got it? Okay.
And the big question is, of
Keep us all
course,
in
what
the
happens if white goes?
What happens if white goes here? So how many people have an answer? How many people thought that this was an interesting area of the board where things were going to play? Yeah, most people sort of zeroed in on this area. This is indeed what happens next. So what's black's best play here?
Well, that would be the one that won.
No.
There?
That's what
We're
Okay.
going to go this way.
Yeah.
We're going to go this way. We're going to Atari. Play here. White's going to play here. And we're actually going to go ahead and play this whole
Okay, well, that's
sequence out right
connected.
here.
Okay, well, it's connected, so that's,
And this whole thing happens. So if you read, how many people read this? Because this is
I
something
didn't.
that's eminently readable as a possible follow-on sequence.
I didn't read it that far.
I figured black would probably connect somehow, but
Somehow, but how, we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you've seen that, what do you think of the board?
looks better for black. I mean, that's,
Do you think that makes it look better for black?
well,
Anybody think that makes it look better for white? I'm not saying one way or another just yet. I'm
White's
just
got
asking.
I don't know, this is,
White's got a whole lot of stuff down there.
All right, how much is a whole lot?
okay, 3 times
30, 40.
45, 50.
Can't black come in over here? Isn't there like a Tsuji somewhere over here?
Well, that's, yeah.
Sure, especially when you consider that this group right through
Exactly.
here doesn't actually have eyes yet. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you can't actually count this whole
Yeah.
territory as territory for white.
That would be about
cannot.
40 points.
Cannot
you know?
yet, that's right. That'd be a lot if you could, but you can't, so. So what else? Well, as it turns out, this group through here is also not alive. That after black comes through like this,
Yep.
white can't actually connect these stones. White has to worry about making life for this group in the middle, which means that black ends up killing this whole group,
Wow.
or this whole group.
Yeah, split.
And so once you see how this thickness happens, now you can say, hey, maybe these stones out here are kind of junk for white. I mean, white could save out here, but then he'll die over here.
Yeah, that's
Right.
better.
So it's a lot of timing involved there.
So there's a lot of timing involved, but certainly after you see this and you see this thickness, after I see that thickness on the board, I definitely think that this is a game that black's going to win. Because I am seeing some very specific sequences to threaten on one side, attack the other, threaten on the other side, attack the one,
Yeah.
whichever. Add to that the fact that this isn't necessarily good cash, and this here is close enough to balancing this and this, that I think black's all right. Make sense?
I thought this could be saved without connecting.
Which could be saved.
The big long white.
This guy?
Yeah, and partly one way was to go here.
Yeah,
and then
it can.
goes-
It has to
yeah.
come back and make this eye, but it
Yeah.
does that in Gote,
Oh,
right? So
okay.
there's really not as many eyes here as we think. So the idea here, again, when a stronger player tells you they like one color or another, you don't have to listen to them. But if you can try and meet them halfway, try and figure out why they say that, or even say, why do you say that? I think this is better. You know, maybe they'll let you know. Like in my case, I really don't think that thickness that black has on that far board, very good at all. I would totally take those 30 points. There's other cases where somebody might have 30 points of cash, and I look at that thickness and I say, wow, that thickness is definitely better than 30 points cash. What those
black's not going to have
situations
any
are?
trouble playing there.
What was that?
Black's not going to have any trouble playing there. I mean,
What do you mean?
Well, this gives him something he can run into and something he can push.
Black's
white into.
behind. Oh, you mean white?
Yeah, I mean,
White's not gonna have
tactically, that's going to help him.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That sounds good. So, so that's sort of the idea. I don't know if this is much sense because this is just 4 positions. We don't have millions of self-play like AlphaGo does to train on. We have to generalize from smaller data sets. So any opportunity that we have to do that using people who already have developed a better value network, it's worth doing. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, that's the talk for today. Heath, let's show us your positions.
George and me on this one.
All right,
It's white to play. at this
white
point.
to play. All right, so this one is white to play. And who'd you show this to?
I didn't have a chance to show it to anybody.
Didn't have a chance to show it? Did you guys not show it to anybody?
No, haven't had a chance.
So
I reviewed it myself.
who's which color?
I am black.
Uh-huh. And
I'm white. It's a
Except for your
two-handicap
white.
zone game.
2 handicap game? And it's white's turn. Okay. So who likes which color? Do you guys agree or disagree on who stands better here?
At this point, I thought that I was suffering, that I was behind. I liked the fact that I had just got this move from the way he responded to these guys. But I was not. I wasn't overly optimistic right now.
All right. Heath?
I was more ahead though.
I feel I feel I'm behind as well here.
Why?
I really don't have too much for solid points comparatively, whereas he's got this
12.
decent corner
There's 14, another
here.
8.
This one's not finished yet.
But because of this cutting point, you probably owe a move immediately
Right.
to protect here, right?
Yep. Whereas I've got a side, I've got this, but I'm still not quite sure what's going to happen. What I'm going to do with this. These actually end up dying in the game. That's when I resign.
Oh, yeah?
Spoilers.
All right. Well, it sounds like you guys are both on the right track here. I would totally probably play black here. That's just my instinctive response. I think you're right. Good work on your value network. Show me the next position.
So this was another game from the tournament. There's no Comey in this one. I am black.
And you are playing?
This is Adam. I don't know his last name. I think the tournament was one of his first games here.
Oh, cool.
Young
That's
man.
great. New blood.
Yep.
And you are black. You said.
I am black. And I actually felt pretty decent, but also I was worried about this. This alone was sort of competing with what I had. So
How about first, let's start with the who's alive, who's dead. Any groups unsettled?
I thought I had more threats on this. This isn't quite the position. I backed this one out of my attempts to try and kill this.
Okay.
This lives.
Okay.
So that was one I just sort of left open, but white actually is pretty safe there.
So how much is this big white cache here in the upper left corner?
8 points.
And what is the status of the group in the upper left?
Of which?
That group in the upper left.
Oh, this one. You're mine.
Yeah.
This one's alive,
Yeah?
right?
Is it?
No,
Anybody disagree?
gotta think about it. Damn.
Oh,
I think it's-
looks like,
Is it Co?
Alive, isn't it? Gotta be.
Show me what happens after white plays on the 2-1 point.
Yes.
yeah.
Black.
Oh yeah, I'm not alive, am I?
Looks like a co to me.
It does.
Black plays here and what?
Oh, there I go.
And white plays up.
2-2.
Are you sure about that, guys?
No, that won't do it.
Try the throw in.
Throw in here.
Uh-huh. Now what happens?
Now it's Co, isn't it?
Isn't it? No.
No, I didn't.
Oh, no, that's go. That's go. Play a target. Black can just connect.
Yeah.
Black can just connect.
Disconnect.
Yeah.
Co. It's not co. Sorry.
It's not Co. It's alive. Okay,
It's
cool.
alive.
I am alive. I'm alive. I thought I was alive.
Goodness gracious.
He did in Keith's defense. He didn't understand the 4-foot rule.
What's the 4-foot rule?
If they are under 4 feet when they come to your table,
Oh, yeah.
sign.
Oh, I see.
Adam wasn't the young one. Wasn't that?
Oh, wasn't he? I thought it was about this big.
No.
Oh, okay.
I
think
ran
that
across
was-
that one with some little squirt named Stephen Hay once.
Yes.
I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna take him out there and throw him down on 45th Street, but there were too many people around.
So I got lost, Andrew. What's the count here?
What was
The
that?
territory count here?
I haven't counted this big white territory. That's why I asked Heath. let's see, what is that? 20. That's 30. 32. 40.
60?
60.
Almost 60 right there. How about black's territory? How big is this one down here? Almost 40 points?
Yeah.
And this one's another 20, 25.
Uh-huh.
Did you get somewhere?
But white has some here.
Yep.
So,
Well, it's got something there.
territory-wise, things are kind of balanced. Good thing you're alive in the upper left corner.
Yeah. Talking with him, he was feeling as pressured as I was. So
Oh, yeah?
we had a game.
All right. This looks like this could still be a game. I don't know. I'd have to do an actual count of the end game and what's left here. But so far, it doesn't seem very lopsided.
Right.
Right.
We were both sort of sweating it because neither one of us felt we had a clear advantage.
Clear advantage.
So
And that seems legit. I would probably give the nod to white. I think white's territory is a little bit better.
less threats.
Less
'cause
threats.
It's actually black's move here. White had
Okay.
just played this.
Hmm.
And I actually messed up this to where he ends up crawling
Oh,
quite
no.
a ways. Because it went to this, and
You didn't just play here?
yeah, that's what I should have played.
Sure enough. That's
So,
right.
yes, that's what I should
Why
have
didn't
played.
you?
Because shape is hard.
Because I didn't
You were
think
maybe,
it'd jump
maybe
that
thinking,
far.
maybe you're
We're doing
thinking this is a yummy little morsel here.
That sounds not worth enough. It might
Not
have
as
been
big as the
shade.
stuff on the edge, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But
because
sometimes you get a little thing going in the back of your
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
It goes, hey.
and also afterward, this is the move I played. We've looked at it, and this
That's
is what I
better,
should
that's
have
right.
played.
Against the short
to
monkey
block
jump,
it.
you can't always sit on it like that.
Right,
You can almost always sit on the long monkey
right,
jump.
right. And that's kind of what I was.
Short one, probably not as good. That one's neither short nor long. There we go. All right, good stuff. Thanks, guys. All right, so who wants to try this on their games for next week? Again, you have to have a game. You have to show it to a stronger player. There's plenty of folks on OGS who will answer your question. Stephen who? Totally would do it. Lopez, he would totally do it. Absolutely. So find a stronger player, show them a game, ask them what they think of the board position, and if you agree, great. If you disagree, learning opportunity. Okay? That's the thought. All right. It is 8 o'clock. Let's play games for an hour. Sound good?
Joseki.
Yeah. Oh, Joe